No, you go.
All right. I'm still gathering my oh my gosh, Melinda's going to put me on the spot moment. I'm Karen Fagan, licensed professional counselor.
I'm Melinda Jacobs, trauma-informed coach and hypnotherapist.
And we are
Healers who like to
who
swear a lot.
Yeah, that was better last week.
It was way better.
We'll have to practice.
Fuck yeah. Anyways, so Karen is talking about personality disorders, and I have a fascination of true crime and serial killers, and what my fascination is what their childhood background is. It's always trauma based. There's always something really horrible, and there's oftentimes personality disorder diagnoses in there, and so Karen has this really cool theory that personality disorders are too much of one thing, too little of something. And so we were talking about the sociopathic personality disorder, too much grandiose.
You want sociopathic or narcissistic? Because you asked me narcissistic.
No, I'm going for the sociopath.
Like a sociopath would have not enough empathy. And too much like me. What would that be? Narcissism? Too much?
Yeah, whatever. But what I'm curious about is what you said is that these can be balanced out, and then the personality disorder can be resolved, or the person can live.
Right. I'm taking an online class, recorded class through PESI. I don't know what that stands for, but any psychology person is going to know what that is. Greg, God, he's a Colorado guy. I can't remember his name. Anyway, so he's presenting this model of personality disorders as too much of one thing and not enough of another thing. He uses excess and something else. Excess and, I don't know, lack. So I really like the model. I've sort of always looked at personality disorders as a developmental issue, because if you, for example, borderline is like a 13-year-old in a 40-year-old's body. Like behavior that would be fairly appropriate and expectable for a teenager who doesn't have good social skills and doesn't have good self-regulation skills. But you put that in a grown-up where it's not expected behavior, and we call it a personality disorder, dependent personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, all of those. But so we haven't gotten to treatment recommendations yet, so I'm really excited for those. I will keep you posted. But it's that idea that this is an imbalance, and I love that, because I'm not really a disorder person anyway. Right. I think we're all figuring it out with the best tools we have, and sometimes we don't get tools that work. And the other piece of that is sometimes we get messages from the environment that we grow up in that nobody imagined we would get.
So what you said that was so interesting to me, though, and this is where I was like, oh, I want to record this, was, if we could learn certain things. So sociopath is very that's on the extreme end of the spectrum, right? But I know a lot of people that have very underdeveloped empathy. And so as a clinician, how would you suggest someone work on enhancing, developing empathy? I don't know about you, Karen, but I see a lot of people out in the world right now that might fall into that category, that there's a lack of empathy.
When I'm working with somebody who I think has a lack of empathy, and this actually, it comes into couples a lot. I typically, I'll do some good old fashioned Gestalt empty chair exercises, and I'll say, switch places. Now be the other person.
Mm-hmm. And so literally putting them in the
other person's place. Mm-hmm. One of the things I do is imagine this scenario that you just told me about coming from someone else. It's often easier to see something from an outside perspective than from our own eyeballs.
Yeah. One of the things that I do is, so I work with people who have some pretty loud negative tapes in their heads, like, you're not good enough. And I was working with a beautiful young woman, new mother. Oh my gosh, all the hormonal imbalance and all the anxieties and insecurities, and has lots of body insecurity. And, taking on the role of being a new mom, like that's a lot. It's a lot to take on. And mentioned that she had gotten so busy and so about the child that forgot how to take care of herself.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was this moment where she was thinking about her own mother and how it upset her so much that the mother wasn't taking care of herself, that the mother wouldn't hold boundaries for her. And I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting that you yourself can give to the point where you're missing meals, but you can also recognize how it feels as the child to be in the presence of a parent who does not take care of themselves, and the amount of anxiety that produces. Like, it's been a childhood thing. And so right there, she wasn't able to have empathy for herself that moment by over giving to her child and not taking care of herself, neglecting herself. But when she was able to put herself back in the role of the child having that as a parent, it was right there.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have people do that, like, well, what do you want for your child? Do you want that experience for your child? The other thing I do is I use a somatic practice, right? I say, take your hand, put it on your heart. This is very grounding. Alexa, dismiss. I'm not sure what that is. Anyway.
Nosy bitch.
Well, I set a reminder for later, but of course I don't remember what it was for now, because that's how my brain works. I know stuff and forget things. Somatic practice, hand on the heart, helps you ground into your feelings. So I always joke that my job is to get the thinker to feel and the feelers to think. So the thinkers put their hand here and ground to feelings. The feelers, if you put your hand here, it grounds you to your thoughts.
Yeah.
So this is how you get out of drowning in emotion, and this is how you start drowning in emotion when you don't know how.
You know why this works? It's an energy thing. I love this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure you know. Of course you know why this works.
Well, there's lots of different frameworks for it, but what does it sound like in your world?
So in my world, this is bringing energy forward into your frontal cortex.
Yeah.
And so it's literally bringing energy into this part of your brain. And if you're getting emotionally hijacked, then it just gets you back online, literally back on.
It grounds you to your thinking brain. Yeah, I love that. It's so the most powerful. Do you want a story? Quick story?
Of course, I want a story. Tell us a story, Karen.
It was this. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a couple, and they were one of the biggest cultural salads I've ever had. Like,
great way to put it.
Ethnically Chinese.
Okay.
Raised in Chinese families who had emigrated to Brazil.
Oh, that's interesting.
So they were both raised in Brazil.
Okay.
And then they moved to America.
Okay.
That was a whole bunch of cultures. Anyway.
Yeah. And Brazil being like, are we talking the Portuguese Catholic Brazil?
I don't know, actually. I really don't. This was a very long time ago. I did not ask. But anyway, so sort of that very controlled Chinese, the very, like party Brazil, flagrant, emotionally expressive Brazil, and then in America. The gentleman was a professor in the sciences, so very, very, the box was small and he was in it all the way. And she was an artist. And she would regularly lose her shit. And he was very stoic, like brick wall. And so I was trying to get them to do this thing. And, she was supposed to put her hand here. He was supposed to put her hand on her heart. He burst into tears.
Whoa.
And sobbed. I think this was the first time I did it. I was like, I got to get this guy into his feelings.
Wow.
Burst into tears, sobbed, like silent, heaving sobs. And I was just like,
oh,
that
unexpected.
I was like, well, I'm going to do that again. It was
Great.
phenomenal.
Love
it was
that.
just phenomenal. But the impact of just physically grounding yourself in again, that imbalance, right? Too much heart, you need to ground yourself in your head. Too much head, you need to ground yourself in your heart. Use your whole body, use your whole energy. As I knock my computer off the table. Forget things, know stuff, and knock things over.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. It's great wisdom, especially for right now, because I know a lot of people who are way over here and a lot of people who are way over here. Like, isn't that just another interesting reflection of the divide is, the divide between the heart and the mind? And I know where I live a little bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I could use a little more of this.
But look at how Terry Real says adaptive then, maladaptive now. So when was it functional for you to read other people's minds and get ahead of them and step into like what they were thinking and what they were about to do? And look how you've made an amazing career out of that. And you have to know when to turn it off.
Right. And I have spent a lot of time with a lot of people who are just like that, had to have that hypervigilance. I need to know what's about to happen in the room before I even step into the room. That kind of level of energetic reading the room and helping them learn how to turn it off is a little bit of a trick, because it's not supposed to be on like that like that.
No, not all the time. You can't do that. It's impossible and energetically exhausting.
Well, and the thing is I believe like we're hardwired to stay safe. And so, but it's generally from a relaxed place. That's not a relaxed place. That is a hypervigilant, on guard, on point all the time.
Response.
Pardon?
It's a trauma response.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, what's a big takeaway from this conversation that you want people to go practice as a result?
Find balance. It's all about balance.
And thus, people is Karen's brilliance.
You have to stop saying that. What about you, sister?
Nope. I'm going to make you uncomfortable.
That's what Melinda's really great at, but in really good ways. I have many, many stories about how she's made me uncomfortable.
Okay, one more story, please.
My favorite is the tissue box.
Okay, I love that one. Go ahead.
That's my best. So I grew up in a needless, wantless family where I was rewarded for not needing anything, which I turned into a fabulous career where I have intense emotional relationships with people and I have no needs except getting paid by insurance companies. I actually don't like getting paid by people. So, no, it's true. I hate the first of the year when deductibles are high. So, at this point in my life, I was really struggling, and Melinda had gotten the office next door to me, and it was so pretty. My current office is actually painted a very similar color, and it just looked so comfortable, and I just wanted to go sit in there. Melinda was so lovely, and so I asked Melinda if it would be weird for her if I came and talked to her professionally, because in my personal life, turns out it's not possible to be needless and wantless, and I had absolutely no idea what to do with that. So I went into Melinda's office, sobbed greatly, a lot.
I made her put her brain in a jar.
Usually, that was another story. We'll tell that one another time. That was a different time. But so much so that I had little abrasions under my eyes from crying so much and dabbing with tissues. And so, I'm a therapist and I had better tissues than Melinda did. So my next session, I grabbed a box of my own tissues and took them with me into my session. And of course, being needless and wantless, I, at the end of the session, handed the box to Melinda and said, you can just keep this. And came back the next week, and she had stored my tissue box in a drawer just for me. And I was mortified, absolutely mortified that I had my own box of tissues. And I think that was the first time you told me to suck it up and get over it. I was just going to have special tissues. And that was hard because, I had all this internal dialogue around being selfish and, oh my God, what if I hurt your feelings by bringing my own tissues? And so it was very powerful for you to tell me to suck it up. And that wasn't the last time you told me to suck it up. So
No, it's not. And from my perspective, like what a gift it is to give somebody to create something special for them. And I think that's my own wounding is it's just no one ever made a fuss and no one ever made anything special for me.
Mhm.
And so I love creating those kind of moments for people where it's only it's like I don't do this with every single person. This is your special thing. I love creating that for people.
And at the end of session, Melinda would hold her little hands out. And I was like, what are you doing? And she would just wait. And she was waiting for my tissues. And I was like, oh, you don't have to touch those nasty things. She's like, hand me your tissues. And again, I was mortified that this poor woman felt like it was her responsibility that she had to touch my tissues. And who knew? She thought it was cool.
I did. It was my gift. To me, all I've ever wanted to do is be of high service, which to me is, maybe almost Mother Teresa level, but I don't need to go hang out with the lepers and all of that. But to just be there in someone's deepest, darkest moment. Years ago when I was in the eating disorder unit, like I had this moment of clarity that I want to sit in the dark place with people and just know the truth and hold the light and know it until they can know it for themselves. And part of that is just, cutting through all the bullshit and getting straight down to you're a human who just had a really big cry. And I want to just continue to be of service to you and let me help clean up. You don't have to do that right now. Like your only job is to take care of you now. I got this. And so to be able to show up in that way, what a gift.
And that is your beauty and brilliance.
Oh, what I don't think you understand maybe fully, and maybe you do by now, but you give me a gift when you allow me to serve.
Yeah, I know that about other people. When I do it for them. But I'm a burden to you. Haven't you figured that out by now?
Oh God. And no, I'm not going to let you live into that lie. That's just
I'll send you a memo.
All right. Still not buying it.
And but that truly is where our worlds converge and work so well together, is like all of my training and all of my colleagues in my profession is like evidence-based this and science that and data this. And I know it's gross. It doesn't take you all the way. And so you have naturally what I have to remember to cultivate, because I want to go, oh, let me explain that to you so you understand it, so you can fix it. And you sit with it and sit with the person and heal it. It's beautiful.
Oh, thanks. So if you're interested and you want to sit in Karen's, she has really good Kleenex, folks.
I do.
And if you're in Colorado, she does telehealth. So there's Karen's info, and she's really great with EMDR. She's amazing with couples. Oh my God, so good. And if you want me to hand you some unique special thing and create your own unique thing and sit in your dark and just know the truth for you, because that's what I do.
From the inside out.
Yep. And I will see patterns that you had no idea. And to me, they're just as clear as day. That's my gift. Karen, thanks for doing this. You're being so consistent.
I know. It's kind of surprising.
It's amazing.
I don't even really think about not doing it anymore.
Ooh.
I'm like the consummate introvert, so even this is big, but it helps us structure our time since you went and moved to Arizona. I love it because we actually spent more time together.
Awesome. So, folks, we will see you next week. Same time, same bat channel. Healers who like to swear a lot, have a great fucking week.
For sure. Fuck yeah.
See you soon. Bye.